I'd like to call to order the February 19, 2025 meeting of the Public Works Advisory Committee. Can I get a roll call, Vicki?
Chad Dagley,
Here.
Dave Nolan,
Excused.
George Robin,
Here.
Greg Lammert,
Here.
Scott Peterson,
Here.
James Myers,
Excused.
Wendy Propkop, Kevin Watlett,
Here.
Mary Lallo,
Excused.
Pam Hobbs, William Fath,
Present.
Councilman Cascala.
Here.
All right, can we get the Pledge of Allegiance? Bill, you want to lead us?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, everybody, we have an agenda in front of us. Anybody have anything they need moved, added? Do you get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Greg, second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we move on to the approval of the December 4th, 2024 meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve those? Chad? Second. Second by Greg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have any citizen comments tonight? I don't think we have any citizen comments. We're going to move on now to new business, and we're going to talk about the 2024 pavement manual update.
Okay. Thank you, committee members. My name is Chris Clerks, Capital Improvements Manager. This will be my third time doing this for you guys. I think most of you are familiar with what we do. It's just kind of a summary, going over a little bit of the pavement manual that we have out there online, and then talking about some of the accomplishments and budget stuff for 24, and then also kind of moving into 25. So just real quick, touching on the pavement manual. Generally, we will post that around March. We've still got some things to tweak and clean up, but when the updates are done, we will definitely get that posted. We plan on it being early March. Hopefully March 1st is our goal. We wanted to get through the conversations with you guys here tonight, and then we'll go to council at the end of February here and discuss the same things and give them the same information. Just wanted to give you a heads up on the 24 manual is based upon both 2019 and 22 Transmap data. Transmap data is the data that comes from St. Charles County that they contract out to a company that drives all the roads in the county, puts a pavement condition index to, the PCI index to, and then sends it out to the cities, and we use that for our kind of our first step and evaluation, and use it as a guide for us to start looking at where our roads are. It's usually done every 3 years, so there'll be another one we think in 25. We need to reach out to the county and make sure that is going to happen, and make sure we understand if they're going to use Transmap, or if they're going to use a different company, or whatever's going to happen with that. But we did want to point that out. The 24 manual is still based off of 2019 and 22, because there's some charts and graphs in there that are based upon historical data, and now we've got 2 points of data, 2019 and 22. When we have our third set of data, hopefully we can start building our own kind of pavement curve to show how things are going and things like that. So the more data, the better for us. So we'll continue to do that. I have an asterisk there just kind of stating that between 19 and 22, they changed the way they took the data, got the data in. In 2019, it was more of a random sampling. If I call it a segment, that means it's usually intersection to intersection. And they would take a random sampling within a segment and look at that area of the roadway. That was in 2019. In 2022, technology has advanced, things have gotten a little bit better, so now they can actually just drive the segment, intersection to intersection, pick up all the crack deflections and things like that pretty accurately. There's still some things that, they have to work out for bugs and things like that, but overall, that's the difference, is they're not looking at a random sampling anymore. They're looking at more of a whole segment condition instead of just spot checks throughout the segment. So just wanted to throw that out there. If you have any questions on that, we can try to get you some more information on that. I also wanted to say in the 24 pavement manual, last year we would have came to you and talked about this new strategy we wanted to implement, where we go in a clockwise direction around the city through the wards. Talked about how each ward would get work done every year. Something would get done in every ward. This year, last year, 24, was the first year we implemented that, and we feel it was very successful. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. So I just wanted to point that out. The other thing we need to point out, which I think you guys all know because you drive around the city all the time, pavement continues to deteriorate daily, and it's going to be very difficult to ever catch back up. So we're doing the best we can because it has been deteriorating faster than we can get to replace it. So just kind of keep all that in mind as we go through here. As far as general asset information, this is stuff that we've been showing you for a couple of years now because I don't think we've accepted things to where it changes a whole lot, but we have over $430 million worth of network asset. That's how much our pavement's worth, is about $430 million. You can see there it's about 700 lane miles. If you don't know what a lane mile is, it's essentially if you have a 2-lane road, each lane, if you go a mile, that would be 1 lane mile. Coming back the other direction would be another lane mile. So you'd have 2 lane miles in a mile stretch. So just wanted to give you some information on that. And then, like I said, segments are defined as like in between intersections. We've already covered that. As you can see, the city's broke down into about 84% concrete streets, and we have about 16% in asphalt, most of which is up here in Ward 1 in the older part of town, which makes sense, but we do have it scattered throughout the city to make up that 16%. And you can see how many sections roughly we have and roughly how many lane miles we have. So some 24 accomplishments on the engineering department side, and we'll get into some public works accomplishments too with this, like we always do. In 24, we had about a little over 4 million. You can see we touched about 84 street segments. With that, we were able to replace 2,258 slabs, or roughly 6.4 lane miles of our roadway. So it's still a pretty small percentage when you consider we have over 700 lane miles in the city. But we're making strides, and we're still working towards our ultimate goal of doing the best we can. As you can see, we've replaced 26 ramps in 24, or about 186 yards. With concrete sidewalk, we were able to get to about 254 slabs to repair while we were doing our concrete program. And that also includes, our concrete program also includes putting in under drains. When you replace slabs that are at an area where there's 2 inlets across from each other, we put an under drain with some drainable base rock material. And in theory, that will hopefully suck the water kind of towards that low point, because it's already a low point in the road generally, and help with getting water out from underneath the pavement. As you know, we do 7-inch. So our concrete program, if you don't know, we put 7 inches of concrete on 5 inches of rock base, and we use steel baskets in all of it. So it's a pretty beefy repair, and once we get through the city a bunch of times, we'll have a lot of good concrete put back down. So just throwing that out there for the concrete. So in 24, we're calling it targeted joint repairs. Or also partial depth repair. That's what PDR stands for. That is the use of the mastic material that I believe we met quite a few of you out there on site to show you what we were planning on doing with it. So our total funding in 24 was $1 million that came from the use tax. This material that we put in is just a hot applied mastic material. It's different than the asphalt that has been used in the past for potholes and joints that have been failing. Generally, this is, like I said, it's a targeted joint repair, so it's where the joints are failing in between the slabs. But the slab, as a whole, is still in pretty good shape and doesn't show signs of deterioration through what we found to be 2 different chemical reactions. If we don't see signs of that, and it's just the joint that needs to be repaired, this is what we use that for. And I'll show you a picture here in a minute. And that hot applied mastic material, as I've talked about before, is more flexible. It's handled, in some areas, it's handled 3 winters now, at least. And this year has been pretty rough. And all of this, is, as far as we know, is still fully intact where we put it down last summer. So we're pretty excited about the use of this material. $1 million is a lot of money, but it did go very far. We'll get into that here in a little bit. So we were able to make, with the targeted joint repairs, we were able to basically touch about 14 lane miles of residential pavement. So that was a really good start. That was our first year, like I said. So there was some things we had to figure out in the best places to use it, kind of some lessons learned in this first year. Now we can kind of start refining our process and focusing on some other areas, and we won't use it in some certain instances. So it's really just kind of a learning process in that first year, but it was still very effective. As you can see, we did about 281,000 pounds of that material. It's the mastic material and the rock that goes into it. They put a rock, a bulking stone, what they call bulking stone, after they grind out the joint and clean everything up, they put a bulking stone in, and then they put this mastic material in it, and then they top it with a smaller crushed stone to give it some texture and kind of transitions it into the pavement. So with that, we did about 281,000 pounds, which you can see transitions to almost 8,000 bags of this joint material. And this is what a before and after that we did on Bryan Road. So we not only did residential, we found that we could grab a couple of bad sections on Bryan Road that were getting pretty rough. You can see it's right there in front of Bryan Valley, and your before is on the left, obviously, as it says, and you can see all those joints that are failing that have had asphalt put in there, that I would imagine Public Works is probably back fixing almost every year, if not more than once. So with this mastic material, we were able to clean that up, clean those joints up, and we anticipate this will hold together a little bit better than that asphalt. And at the same time, we're not the only ones doing it. Public Works has their own PDR pot, is what I'll call it, because they have their own equipment now to do this targeted joint repair also. So that's another exciting part to this. 24 asphalt, we had about 300,000. We typically focus on mill and overlays, and we did focus on that for 24. We did about 17,000 square yards of pavement, or 2.2 lane miles, and we focused on Technology Drive down there by Progress West Hospital. That was starting to fall apart. We didn't get it all done, so we're going to finish it out this 25. That way, down in that area, we'll have all brand new asphalt pavement. But you can see it was pretty far gone, pretty deteriorated, and it's got a nice new mat, and it rides real smooth down there now again. So that was where we focused on the asphalt program. So our 24 crack seal, we had 300,000 for that. We basically, we always try to seal the entire ward. So whatever ward we're going into, we seal the entire thing. So we actually were in Ward 3 in 24 and completed approximately 52 center lane miles of roadway. That's a little bit different than lane miles that I was talking about before. Center lane miles is exactly what it is. You look down the middle of the road, that's your center lane, your center line, that's your center lane mile, basically. So we were able to get a path maintenance program going last year. In previous years, we kind of blended that together into our concrete program and tried to replace more curb ramps and sidewalk and stuff like that. But we focused on just sidewalk and path. This last year, we had $100,000, and we ended up trying to do kind of a pilot of mud jacking. And you can see the maps with the purple, I believe, is where we actually were able to touch, where we went and looked at the sidewalks. We evaluated them. Not every sidewalk section that might be settled is a candidate for mud jacking, so we had to evaluate that first. But we did turn around and fix about 1,200 sidewalk slabs through those areas in Ward 1. So we feel that it was pretty productive for the amount that we had. Touching 1,200 sidewalk slabs, that's quite a bit. And then here's a couple of pictures. They're kind of hard to see because it's in the shadows of the left picture, that before and after. You can kind of see where the trip hazards and some of the issues are. And that's what it looked like on the after picture once we got done, just kind of lifted and leveled everything. And then this one was actually right outside of City Hall on the east side, on the right. You can see where it settled down behind the back of curb, and there was, I think, a kick hazard somewhere in there that when you raised it up, you can see the core holes. It got everything leveled out again. So like I said, we aren't the only ones that have accomplishments. Obviously, our Public Works Department's working hard every day. They are more work order driven, but they do track all of their stuff, and we want to highlight them too because they got a lot of good big numbers in here too. So as you can see, as far as road slabs, they were able to replace 576 road slabs. and did about 900 feet of concrete curb and gutter. That 6,000 lineal feet of roadway, I think that's kind of for some repairs through there, because we don't generally just go and replace a full section of roadway under the street department. But that's a lot of lineal footage of either, whether it's targeted joint repairs or something like that, that they still need to just get some asphalt down in temporarily. That's a big number right there of them working hard to get that done. Their targeted joint repair, they did 4,300 lineal feet. They tracked it a little bit differently than we did on the contract side that we did, but they were able to do 2,100 bags of that stuff just last year, and that's their first go around too. They're learning and getting better every day at putting that stuff in, and we've seen some really good things from what they've been doing too. So, you know, we can only hope and expect that both, you know, the contracted side and Public Works can just continue to do as much as we can for the amount of money that we have and get the best bang for our buck when it comes to that targeted joint repair. As far as sidewalks, they were able to touch about 810 deficient panels, replaced 14 ADA ramps, crack seal. They did a lot of lineal foot in there. As far as just internal crack sealing, 23,000 lineal feet. Looks like they used about 355 tons of asphalt just for pothole patching. Specific to that, I doubled up on that curb and gutter, so disregard that. And then getting into A-joints and street creep, a lot of work was done this last year for that. A lot of lineal foot was put down to either put in a new A-joint or street creep or to fix one that was already there. As you can see, they for the new saw cut, that second bullet point, they touched 42 different driveways there. And for reinstalls, they did 47 different driveways and addressed over around 110 total work orders of street creep. So I know that in itself keeps them busy. When you add that potholes and everything else they got to do, they got a lot of work ahead of them, and they do a good job of getting that all done. So we definitely wanted to highlight that. Still got some more here. Roadway striping and sweeping. You can see that they swept 2,700 lane miles, which is equivalent to 3 passes around the city, essentially. Put down 156 miles of marking of white and yellow and all that. Striped 1,883 different traffic markers of different styles and needs. So that, you know, those are all nice big numbers to see too. And then worked on 513 sign-related issues throughout the city. So a lot of information here. I'm just going through relatively quickly. I'll stop here. Do you guys have anything yet for questions on the stuff that I just went over?
Wendy?
Yes, Wendy.
Chris, I was wondering that project over there by Progress West Hospital where you said that you were going to be working on the pavement over there, that area behind Cracker Barrel, there's another road that leads up there to Progress West. Will that be also taken care of? Because there's quite a dip in there in that road.
I would have to look at that one. I'm not sure 100% standing here if that's a public or a private street. We were focused on the public side of it, and there's a section that we didn't get to. I think it's in between the roundabout and kind of the off-ramp for K. I think there's a section in there that we just couldn't get to that we still need to do. I'd have to look into that because I'm not 100% sure if that's a public or private road. I know which one you're talking about, but I don't know if that's ours or not. Does anybody else know? Wade or Steve?
I'm with you. I'd be surprised if that's a city street,
Yeah,
but it might be. Who knows?
I'm not sure.
Sorry,
We
I
can
was
look at
going to
that.
comment on the same thing, Wendy, because we just went through there, and there's a pothole big enough that they've got a cone in it, and you can only see the top half of the cone.
Okay. Well, I would think that if that is our road, that we probably would have been out there before it got to that level. So that leads me to believe it's probably the hospitals or the private developers, most likely. Kind of a backage or connection road to get to the public street. But we can definitely look into that because if it's that big, we're going to hear about it otherwise. So, yeah, we'll look into that.
Wendy?
Chris, I have another question. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but the intersection of Veterans Memorial Parkway and Woodlawn, when will that be worked on? Because last year, it was in the spring, there was a digital sign up and there were cones up that it was going to start on, I think it was March. Then they took the sign down, they took the cones down. That intersection is terrible. It's got a plate on it right now.
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
So I was just wondering if you would happen to know when it's going to be taken care of, because there's a lot of traffic go through there every day.
So again, standing here, I cannot speak to what is actually occurring there, I'm not aware of. I've seen the plate, and I think it's utilities going through there, but I don't know that for sure. Like the data utilities and things like that. But I have seen that plate, and I've been meaning to ask. I just have actually
Chris, I've got
not
a
asked
little-
anybody about that, honestly.
Chris, I got a little information on that. So
Okay.
I think where that steel plate is, we had a water valve that needed to be worked on.
Oh.
So I think that's where the water valve was worked on.
Okay.
And then I also know that there's multiple pothole work orders for that stretch. Now, Veterans Memorial going through there is MoDOT, but Woodlawn is ours. So I know we got pothole work orders to work on out there.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
All right, Chad?
Yep.
Back on the mud jacking part, I saw a note on the city street map where it says the do not mud jack sidewalks with driveways. Can you explain that a little bit more? I mean, I don't want to get into an issue where it's like a ramp going down into the driveway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that note is intended to make sure everybody's aware that, obviously the sidewalk passes through the driveway, and it's got to be ADA compliant and all that kind of stuff. The driveway is considered private, so we don't want to touch those. And generally, we don't even really do much with the ones right next to the driveway a lot of times, because there's always that chance that something could go haywire, and then all of a sudden we busted up a driveway. So we tried to focus on the long line stuff and the things that were really apparent within your curb ramp to a driveway, and then in between driveways if there was situations, but not those. It gets to be real tricky on what can be done, and in all honesty, I think the mudjacker was a little concerned about even touching those too. So that's why we just wanted to make that clear that we don't touch usually anything around a driveway. That might be more of kind of a replacement situation as needed. Yeah, good question.
They probably had to just touch where they put those street trees in 25 years ago, but, hey. Anyway, Scott? Oh, whoever. Go for it.
On the joint repairs, is there a criteria on how far you grind back from the joint?
So typically, yes, and I have that in a slide, I think a little further down, but typically with what my group does on a contracted side is we focus on anything that's greater than 2 inches, because if it's greater than 2 inches, or if it's less than 2 inches, we crack seal it. So if we're in there to crack seal, we can crack seal anything that's, I think, 2 inches. But if it's over 2 inches or looks like it's unraveling a little bit worse, we'll leave it alone. So it's anywhere from 2 inches to probably around 12 inches as wide as we would go on the contracted side, because that's kind of the sweet spot we find where it's economical for us to still use the material that way, because the wider you go, obviously the less length you lose. So we try not to do too much at 12 inch, but we have stretched it out that far. We've even gone maybe a little over 12, but not much at all. Generally, we leave some of those bigger areas to Public Works because it's more efficient for them to come in and do the larger patches, and they have some other options that they can look at, maybe not using the mastic material, but they could look at doing a partial depth concrete if they would like to, or they could put asphalt down. They have some more options to it. So anything over 12 inches is usually not going to get touched on the contracted side for us, and it would either be on Public Works or it would have a full replacement or something else would happen to that area. That makes sense.
Have you ever ground out and wound up grinding all the way down to the base?
I'm not aware of us actually getting through all the pavement, because usually I think it's only an inch, a couple inches, 1.5 to 2 inches deep. But we got to make sure we get down to something solid. So I'm sure we've ground out some pretty good sections with some of these joints that have failed. I don't know what the percentage would be. I haven't heard anybody tell me that we ground all the way down through it, but I'm sure that'll happen someday where we don't know. It's maybe something got poured really thin and it's only 2.5, 3 inches thick for some reason, and we just happen to get through it. We'll probably run into it at some point in time.
Or do you ever come to a point where it's ground out too far where you have to cut it out and replace the pavement?
Not yet. Not at this time. Yeah, the ones we try to make sure that we're looking at this, picking joints that will be good candidates for the material. And I think our guys and our staff do a really good job of evaluating that and understanding if it's too close for comfort, then they would probably just leave it because it's better than opening up a larger can of worms. Because the way our strategy is working is the targeted joint repairs are going to follow the concrete repairs. So our concrete comes in, it's the most invasive, we get all that done, going clockwise. Then our targeted joint repairs comes into that ward that next year, finishes up stuff that we left, whether it was a good candidate or whatever, and then we do the targeted joint repairs behind the concrete repairs. So we feel like we're going to be taking most of the worst with the concrete program, and we shouldn't run into too many issues, hopefully, with the targeted joint repair.
Thanks, Chris.
Yep. There's always going to be some outliers. I'm going to just preface it by that, but there's always going to be some of that. Yep.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, hi, Chris. What goes into the decision about asphalt versus concrete? You've got, 16%
Yeah.
of asphalt, and I noticed, up there by Progress West, that's a relatively new area, I guess.
Yep.
And it's asphalt. So I was just curious how, what goes into that decision-making?
Are you asking about why the roads are made out of concrete or asphalt, or why we chose that asphalt area?
Kind of both,
Okay.
why it was done that way.
Yeah. I would say generally as of right now, the city is, prefers concrete for the longevity, and this is going to sound weird because we're talking about maintenance, but overall maintenance is supposed to be generally better, because with asphalt you have to come in and do preservations to the asphalt, and then you're still going to have maybe 10 to 15 years or something you get out of life of an asphalt road before you have to mill and overlay and spend a little bit more money. So, progressively that can get kind of expensive as an asphalt road. If all is right in the world and the concrete's holding together like it's supposed to, which is the stuff we're putting down now, we should get 25, 30 years before we ever really need to even go back, is what we're planning on having to happen. Again, there's going to be sections of concrete that may fail early, things that we can't control, but overall longevity of concrete, if it's done right and it's holding together like it should, we hope to get 25, 30 before we even need to come back and look at it for the most part. The reason we chose that Progress West down there, part of it was we had already done some work up in this area not too long ago, and we wanted to kind of spread the wealth a little bit, and we knew we had some asphalt down there that was failing, so we wanted to get that addressed now. We were thinking about trying to submit for an application, but it really didn't score well, we didn't think, so we just decided to use the 300 that we had last year to start it, and then we could finish it this year, and plus still hit some other things with this year, which I have in some future slides coming here pretty soon too. Does that answer your question, I hope?
Yeah, it does. I didn't know if it had something to do with, like, it's non-residential and there's less, and, curbing and entrances and exits. I don't know. I was just wondering what all went into that decision. But
On the development side, the development process allows for either concrete or asphalt in the code. So it's actually the developer can decide one or the other, and it's the developers that are mostly picking concrete when they do their projects.
Yeah.
So
that answers my question. So the developer has.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, technology, as it comes off of K, is public roads, cities, and through the roundabouts, but the road that comes around in front of the Hilton, I think, and back into Cracker Barrel and then on, that's a private road. So, and that's a great question. We debated a lot, concrete versus asphalt, and some cities are all asphalt, right? And they don't want concrete at all, and it seems like around here everybody wants concrete, and if you put asphalt down, it's, what are you doing? So, I mean, it's a real interesting debate. We crunch numbers a lot and life cycle costs, and a lot of it gets into probably, I'm sure, is cost and what's more cost effective, particularly when developers are doing the roadways. When gas and oil is a lot higher than your asphalt prices go up, seems to fluctuate more with versus concrete's kind of steady. But we're not opposed to either one. So.
Great, thank you.
Okay, all right. Let's press on.
All right, we'll go into 25 funding, and if we need to back up, we can back up again. It's not a big deal. Current 2025 budgets, we've got about the same amount there in the concrete program, and you see the asterisk by asphalt and concrete. So we started with $4 million in our concrete program. And what we're going to do, because we're in Ward 1 this year, which has the highest amount of asphalt roads, like I said, we're actually going to request to move $500,000 out of that $4 million into our asphalt program to bring the asphalt program in up to $800,000. And so we'll be able to finish Progress West down there by the hospital where we need to, but then we'll also be able to look at, since we're already in Ward 1 for our concrete program, and we have a highest number of asphalt streets up here, we want to put something towards the asphalt streets up here, because we've done a lot of overlays and things like that in the older part of town that we either need to put preservation on, so we're looking at some possible preservation to keep the life in the pavement that we have, or we'll look at some areas if we need to mill and fill, we'll do that. So we are looking at trying to keep the same amount of money that was supposed to be in Ward 1 in Ward 1. It's just going to be used a little bit differently because we have so much asphalt up here, and we want to try to stay out of that at the same time. So I hope that makes sense. But that's what the two asterisks are saying. And you can see what we have for the rest of them. We have $300,000 for crack seal. We have $1 million from use tax at PDR, and then we have $200,000 for path maintenance. I'll get into some specifics here in a minute. You know, just to point out, and we've talked about it a lot, we'd need 10 to 12 to 15 million just to even try to catch up with the way our pavement deteriorated over the years. So we're doing a really good job. We appreciate all the money and the funds that everybody's been giving us over the last years that I've been doing this and before. All of it makes a difference, and we try to stretch that money as far as we can and get the best bang for our buck, like I said before. So I just want to give a little bit of heads up on where our use tax impact has come in, because that has been huge for this program in general. So in '24, just the use tax alone generated $2 million in revenue that we were able to use to repair concrete roadways. So out of that $4 million we had in '24, we used $2 million of it from use tax, $2 million from Street Road Improvement Fund. So we were able to get almost 1,200 concrete slabs replaced just with use tax money. And just to give you a little bit of history before I dive into that bottom section, is the use tax, as you may know, was awarded or approved, I should say, by the residents of O'Fallon in 2020. So that once that was implemented, the tax was approved, we kind of had a transition year where finance was monitoring how the revenues were going to start looking so they could start gauging what to forecast for all the budget years in the future. So we were finally allowed to and given money out of the use tax in 22 for the first time. That's the first time we were able to use it for the program. But over 22, 23, and 24, it's generated over $7.3 million that we have put towards our pavement maintenance program, which equates to 37 additional slabs, or 104,000 roughly, 103,697 square yards. These are all approximate numbers. It's touched an additional 3.1 lane miles of asphalt and the 14 lane miles of the targeted joint repair. So you can just see in those numbers alone how important that use tax is. And we wanted to just highlight that again this year. So it's essentially for the concrete program with that additional 37 slabs, that's essentially 2 years of work right there that it's given us, which is huge. So in '25, it's projected that we're going to get 2.95. That's what's in the budget, which is actually 84% of our budget for '25. Street Road Improvement Fund is going to provide $1 million just to help support that. And then the partial depth repair is 100% out of use tax money. So, 25, we've got close to $4 million worth of use tax money there. So when you get down to that second bullet point, I just want to kind of give you an idea of the percentage that it has supported our program. In our concrete program, from 22 to 24, it's been about 40% of our budget. Asphalt program, on a one-time use, we haven't used use tax for a whole lot of asphalt yet. We focus it on our concrete because that's our biggest problem, and that's really what the intent was for. So it was 40% of our asphalt program in 22 on that one-time use. Our targeted joint repairs has been 100%. The 1 year we've got it so far in 24, this is our second year in 25, it's 100%. So that's consistent throughout. And our overall average for the program is about 50% of our funding. So again, you can't say enough We can't say thank you enough to the residents or to anybody else that was involved with getting that thing passed, because it's a huge piece of this program and does a really good, a large amount of work for us is really what it does. So, and obviously any money that we don't have to use out of street road improvement fund can be put more into other projects, which has helped our budgets in that respect too. So thank you, residents and everyone else involved. So as far as the pavement strategy, I've kind of already talked about this. This is the 24 flyer, and you can see it's kind of hard to see, but you know, we were in Ward 5 for concrete slab replacements, Ward 4 for targeted joint repairs last year. I won't go through that. Just wanted to throw that out there, for that's what the 24 flyer was. Well, here explains where we were at. Ward 1 concrete slabs, and Ward 5 we did targeted joint. We'll be doing, so in this year we'll be doing, I'm sorry, this is a 25 strategy. This was just showing you the 24 flyer. I confused myself there. So the 25 strategy shifts everything clockwise. So we're in Ward 1 now for our concrete replacements, and we've got that underway as far as bidding. We're in bidding right now. We're going to be coming into Ward 5, where we were in concrete last year in Ward 5. Now we're going to bring targeted joint repairs and focus generally on the areas that we replaced concrete, because we left a lot of joints that were failing there, but were good candidates for the targeted joint repair. We're going to be looking at getting all those cleaned up as best we can, and then we'll see where else we can go from there, depending on if the money holds out. Ward 4 will have crack seal. We'll do the entire ward. Ward 3, we're going to do targeted joint repairs, whether it's through Public Works, which they can determine where they go, but we're also going to be working on the asphalt in Ward 3 at Technology and Weldon Spring, like I explained earlier. And then Ward 2 will be looking at some path maintenance along Highway K from O'Fallon Road to Dunmore Circle. So we're still kind of in the trying to figure out the specs and the program, what that's going to all be, and can give you that information once we know exactly what we're going to be doing. But it'll be hopefully crack sealing or doing some repairs to that asphalt section that's between O'Fallon Road and Dunmore Circle. So this is what our 25 flyer looks like. Everything just kind of shifted. So I just wanted to give everybody that colorful picture.
Hey, before you send that out, you might want to get your colors right.
What's that?
The colors are wrong between the two. No, on Ward 1 is blue, but it's Ward 2 on the left.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we do need to get that corrected. Yeah, we will have to look at that. Yep. Yep, we do have to get, oops, wrong way. Yes, we do have to get that corrected, and I appreciate you telling me that. So again, this is just some more of the strategy information that I've kind of talked about high level. You know, obviously we start with, what I said before was we start with the PCI data as a guide, look through the PCI data. If we look at the lowest PCI ratings, start there in the ward. Then we look at current work orders, the Public Works, and coordinate with them and make sure if we can pick something up for them, we try to. If we can't, you know, we just try to do what we can to help them out a little bit on that. And then we go out and physically look at everything. We have to look at it with we have to evaluate it with our budget constraints and also consider our contractor logistics so we can get the best price, which means better bang for the buck to get more work done. And then, you know, we also have to look at it in coordination with where we want to bring our targeted joint repairs into it the next year when we're in that ward doing concrete. Because what that targeted joint repair stuff will allow us to do is something we typically would have taken and replaced in a ward if it wasn't bad, but it was close. And just because the joints were failing, we would have taken it back in the day. We can leave that now because targeted joint repair will come and fix the joints around it as long as the slab is structurally sound and is not showing signs of the deterioration of ACR or ASR that is the main problematic issue for our concrete. So just things to keep in mind is we're never going to fix everything in the ward, subdivision, maybe even the segment, but we're going to try to do our best to make sure we do what makes the most sense, and using all of our tools, Public Works using all of their tools, keeping everything coordinated properly and keep that open line of communication. I've already talked about the joint repairs following concrete slab work, so just wanted to throw that out there and see if you have any more questions. I just threw a whole bunch of information at you on the second half too.
All right, Chad.
Going back to her comment on Progress West, it looks like it's, she's talking about Progress Point Court. It runs in between, or behind Cracker Barrel in front of the Residence Inn. So I don't know, I mean, if that's O'Fallon's or if that's a private.
I think Wade just looked at that and said that was private. I think he looked at the map, didn't you, Wade? Okay, yeah, so I think that's private. So hopefully they can get it fixed. So, yep.
Follow up to that, is there any way that we can, I mean, I know it's private, but is there any way to put like pressure on them to get that fixed? Because, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that do use that.
On the development side, I guess we could, I don't know, do we usually reach out to people like that, Wade, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think we've notified them. I think we've had complaints on it too, but if it's not addressed, we can discuss with code enforcement. They have certain methods too, so.
Okay. Bill?
Chris, on the entrance to Walden Pond subdivision, in 2024, there were quite a few slabs marked for replacement, concrete slabs.
Okay.
And it never was done. So now we're in the 25. Does that still get done, or how do you work that out?
That was Walden Pond's entrance?
Right.
I'm going to have to talk to the group that does the program and ask them, because I cannot speak to that without asking them and getting an understanding of what was done out there. But there was marked slabs, you said, in the entrance, like the main entrance?
Yeah, where they've got the medians toward to bring the lanes down narrow, just on the north side of that, there was probably at least 8 slabs marked to be replaced. They're pretty bad.
Okay.
And it never was done. You know, all the markings are gone now, and it's 25, so I'm just wondering if that still gets done.
I will take a look at it with the staff that works on the program and see if we marked it. I'm not 100% sure if we did or not. It could have been maybe something that was work order driven, but I don't know that for sure. I don't want to speak for Steve's group either. But we will look into that, and I can get an answer back to you, sir. Yep, not a problem.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, under the 2024 accomplishments engineering, you talked about a pilot program that deals with mudjacking contracted services.
Yes.
Is that something that O'Fallon could take over instead of contracting that out?
Yes. Yeah, that's an option. We wanted to see if it worked for us on the contract side. 100,000 seemed to be enough for us to get a contractor interested. It's actually somebody that lives not too far from O'Fallon. I don't think they're in city limit proper, but it worked out well. It's not something we would probably do every year on the contracted side. But the city could definitely look at doing maybe an on-call with a company to, you know, if they have a bunch of work orders or if something comes up through the year that needs to be done, we can just, you know, call them out and have them on an on-call situation possibly. We kind of did that with the precision cutting we did the prior year, where we had a company that we did under a contract, and they'd come out and just kind of shave the trip hazards off with a saw. And that, I think, turned into an on-call contract after that, I believe. So it is an option that, yes, the city could enter into maybe more of an on-call. I don't know if we have the equipment to do mudjacking in-house, so I can't speak to that. I don't think we have that equipment to do it in-house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Chris. Great way to stretch the dollars as far as we can.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to single stream recycling video.
So there's not a presentation with this. We're just going to go straight to the video. So the people on the back with communications should have that queued up and ready to go, and they could start playing that at any time that they want. And then after that, I'll take any questions you have.
Okay.
The recycling industry has changed significantly in 2018, impacting cities around the world. And our residents were no longer able to place paper and cardboard in their recycle carts. In response, O'Fallon placed recycling dumpsters at several city locations so that residents could drive their paper and cardboard to these locations for recycling. Since then, your O'Fallon City Council, the mayor, and the staff have continually worked to find a solution to alleviate our residents' need to drive these items across town. Because our environmental services team's relentless efforts, the city of O'Fallon is excited to reintroduce single-stream recycling through a new pilot program set to begin on March 4th, 2025. Residents will be able to place paper and cardboard, aluminum, steel cans, plastic, and glass in a recycle cart together, and the city will pick it up at their curbside on the designated recycle day. There's no longer a need to separate these items and no longer a need to drive them to the designated recycling dumpsters located around O'Fallon. I want to thank Steve Bender, Jim Wanzera, for their entire team for their work to bring this great program back to the great city of O'Fallon. Now to introduce the new pilot program and explain a little bit more about it, our communications team has a video to show, and I've been told that this video is not garbage.
We only have one planet Earth, and we all want to help save her. This year, our environmental services team is making it even easier for you to do your part in this important mission. Now all of your recyclables can go in one place, lessening the inherent confusion of all that sorting and inspiring more residents to pitch in.
2018, we were doing single-stream recycling all the way back to 2005. Things changed in the end of 2018, and when it did, we had no choice but to go to the system that we're using now, with drop-off sites for paper and cardboard. Ever since then, residents, city staff have all asked, when can we get back into single stream? We've been looking for years to try to find an economical way to get back into it that didn't cost the residents an arm and a leg. And we found a way to do it. And so we're ready to start a pilot program, and we will be rolling out single stream.
Residents will have a new cart delivered to their homes, if they haven't received it already, in which all your recyclables, paper, cardboard, aluminum, and plastic can be placed. And for those plastic containers, we don't even have to look for that tiny little number anymore. It's just one cart and done.
Well, it'll make things a lot easier for residents because at this point they're having to drive up to one of the drop-off sites to get rid of their paper or cardboard. And that gets to be a problem. You have to load it up, you have to store it in your garage. If they're not doing that, then they're probably putting it in their trash can. Now it's going to be simple, and it's a weekly process, so you won't be stacking it up anymore.
This single-stream recycling program begins on March 4th for those with a scheduled Tuesday recycling pickup.
That's what we're referring to as our pilot program, just to make sure everything's running smooth and everything's going the way that we planned for it to go. I know a lot of questions are going to come up from residents in other parts of the town are going to say, when's my turn? The better that this thing rolls out and the quicker that we get people in compliance with it, we'll roll it out to everyone else.
But if this program is going to work within budget, citizens will have to help in keeping the recyclables clean. With your less pristine items getting rinsed with water first. No clean, no single stream.
We really have to remember the important items like keeping things clean. When I say clean, not just the product, the bottles, the cans, they all do need to be rinsed out and dried the best they can. But really clean in the sense that the product needs to be clean. The things that can't get recycled, don't put them in your container. If you do, it contaminates your container, but it contaminates the load. So we could end up losing a whole load of recyclables because we're not paying attention. So the things that you couldn't put in even before, you can't put in coat hangers, hoses, plastic bags. Those are the kind of things.
Residents will be getting a packet of information to help explain the ins and outs of this new process.
On top of that, we're also embedding a label on the top of the cart that will explain what can be put in the cart and what can't be put in the cart.
Most importantly, if you don't see it on the lid, make sure it doesn't see its way into the bin. When in doubt, throw it out.
So the new single-stream recycling program is not going to cost the residents any more on their monthly rates. We have not had any increases to residents ever, and we continue to look forward to offering that same rate for as far out as we can stretch it. But it's really important to recycle, and I hope that some of the residents that chose not to recycle during the current program because they couldn't put their paper and cardboard in, hopefully they'll come back and they'll start recycling again because it's important to get this product out of landfills. We end up filling up the landfills. We also don't have any product to get out there and get recycled into new items. It helps create jobs for people that are in the recycling industry. There's a lot of good reason to recycle. And when it becomes easy like this, why not do it? It really helps.
All right, we've seen the video. Anybody got any questions? Wendy?
Where do the materials go, Steve? Do you know?
So we're working with St. Peter's, and all the materials go to St. Peter's. They are redoing their facility there to make it single stream friendly, and the city of St. Peter's has actually switched from the blue bag service that they've done for years and switched over to single stream. They did that in January, so they've already made that switch, and then made a big capital investment on their facility there to change the process out and make it automated.
George?
Yeah, in the last edition of the Mid-Rivers magazine, they had a piece about the single stream program for O'Fallon, but it sounded like it was going to be going later into the year. So I'm kind of glad to see that March 4th is a pilot program. But then the questions came up about, well, what about those big containers that they're using right now for paper and for cardboard? I can see, like, for the cardboard, if you have a lot of those big pieces of cardboard, you're not going to try to shove them down into a container, and put it out for curbside. So I can see where those would still be available to go and take those big pieces of cardboard and shove them into the container.
So the plan is to eliminate those for multiple reasons. The first being that you won't need to go there. All the residents of O'Fallon can drop it off at the curb now. If you break it down, you can fit quite a bit of that cardboard in those containers. And maybe you have to do it a little bit every week, but you'll have that pickup every week from your house to get rid of the cardboard. The other thing is that those are very costly. We run 2 personnel 7 days a week, and that expenses, eliminating those expenses is how we help pay for the recycling that we're going with single stream. So that's kind of part of it to eliminate those locations.
Scott?
Hey, Steve, what about the current recycling containers? I mean, mine's in pretty good shape. Are those going to be recycled? There seems, that's a lot of containers to replace, and, it seems like a waste.
Well, any containers that you don't want, we'll take back, and we'll keep them, and we'll reuse them. So.
Well, the single stream containers are all new. They're different. And
yeah.
The current recycling containers.
Yeah, we can take those back.
If you take those back, what are they going to do with them? That's what it might.
I mean, we'll keep them and store them and use them as needed for things. We can also change the lid out and use them for trash or yard waste or something like that. So they'll still have a use.
Greg?
So the individuals that are currently two individuals 7 days a week running the material, are they going to be eliminated? Will they be having another position with the city offered to them?
Well, they'll continue being drivers for us. Right now, the participation in recycling is so low that we've reduced the number of trucks and routes on the recycling side. When the conversion went from single stream to the process we have now, we lost about half the volume of recycling and half the participation. So we need to ramp that back up. So they'll go back on a residential route and pick a single stream that way.
Good, yeah. I put my recycle out, I think, once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, the way it is now.
Yeah.
Wendy?
So, Steve, the materials, when they're separated out or whatever they do with them in St. Peter's at their MRF's facility, so they must have enough interest for the materials that are going out of there, correct? Where does it go? I guess they have companies that need that?
Yeah, so they work out the arrangements for where the material goes after they process it. But yeah, they'll separate it into each component material, the metals, the plastics, the paper, the cardboard, because once it's separated, it has more value. And so that's what their facility does. It does the separation, and it bags them or packages them up into loads that can be sold. And then they have vendors that they deal with on selling it to them, yeah.
We're going to actively be checking cans to make sure stuff is appropriate before we start dumping in the pilot program?
Yes, that's part of the pilot program is to monitor that. And all the drivers should be doing that, yeah.
Okay, do we got any idea what the cost is to recycle per ton of recycled versus per ton of trash?
So this year, we're not paying anything for recycling. Going forward, they're talking about $55 a ton, but the long-term deal has not been negotiated yet.
Okay, so we're going to go from paying, you said nothing currently, to $55 a ton to recycle?
That's, yes.
Okay, all right. And trash per ton, like $16, $15, something like that? I think?
26, I think, is what it is.
All right. Okay, Wendy?
So Steve, the size of the container that people will be getting, that's a bigger container. It's like a 96 gallon then, rather than the 65 that everybody has.
Correct, yes.
Jack, Scott?
Yeah, what you said earlier about the cardboard might be helpful, like when you're putting this out, to recommend that the residents, you had, especially after the holidays, you got tons of cardboard, to, hey, just do some of it this time. And I'm just saying that because a neighbor brought it up to me just the other night at our homeowners meeting. Hey, did you hear about the single stream recycling? And what about all this cardboard, and it's not going to fit in a container. So I just thought what your point was, spread it out. Maybe that can be just kind of emphasized to the people about the cardboard piece.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you break it down instead of just putting whole boxes in there, you can get a lot in there. Then obviously, just do a little bit at a time every week. Yeah, that's a good point to kind of spread the word. Yeah.
Chad?
The other good thing is Jim Manzura is going to come next month and do a presentation, so you get to grill him on it next month. So.
Chad? Okay. All right. Wendy?
I just want to comment, that has always been an issue with cardboard, but people just they're willing to bring it home, bring the big boxes home into their house. If you want to get it in your 96-gallon container, you got to be willing to break it down or cut it up. It's that simple. Rather than taking it at a drop-off site, the city is coming back to make it more convenient. So the resident, all they have to do is take the time to break it down or cut it up to fit it in that 96-gallon container.
Yep. Okay. Anything else? All right. Let's move on. We need to accept the monthly reports for October and November 2024 from the Public Works and Engineering Departments. Can you get a motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Bill? Chad? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, future agenda items. We got a few items here. Sounds like we're going to have Jim next month, which is good. Anything else we want to see next month? Leave it up to you guys to tack something else in there. Yep. Looking forward to having a discussion with Jim. All right, any other future items we want to bring up? Okay, let's move on to closing comments. Pam, I'm going to start down with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris, for the very detailed presentation. And I enjoyed the video and can't wait for the single stream.
Scott?
Yeah, same here. Thanks for the presentation. Chris, is he gone? Yeah, the video, hopefully that'll get out to the public about the recycling. It's a good video.
Greg?
Yeah, looking forward to the single stream recycling, and on the Chris's presentation, I really appreciate the fact that he included the use tax and how that's being used.
Bill?
Thanks, Chris, for the great presentation.
George?
Again, also, great presentation by Chris. Thank you, Steve, for information about the single stream, and hopefully when Jim comes in next month, we can get more answers.
Chad?
Once again, thank you for the presentation. Also, thank you to all the plow drivers and that team that took care of the streets during the, I guess, 1.5 snowstorms that we had. I don't necessarily count that last one as a whole one.
Wendy?
Thank you, Steve, for all the answers to my questions, and I appreciate Chris with all of his hard work on all the different things with the city, with the roads. They're doing a fantastic job. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll follow with a good meeting tonight. And on a committee note, Gene Stecker isn't here tonight. He has departed the committee for some medical reasons that he's got. So he let us know a couple weeks ago that he was his doctors advised him he needed to move on and not be driving at night. So, we're looking for a replacement for that, I believe, still. So if anybody's got anybody they want to have up here, we can fill that vacancy. With that, Councilman Costello.
Thank you. I just want to thank you guys. You guys always have such great questions and comments, especially regarding the single stream recycle at the last meeting. And I was able to take a lot of those questions to council and make sure that your opinions were heard and addressed. We talked a little bit through it at the council workshop, and just kind of gets ideas going and thinking. So thank you for always speaking up and having comments and questions, and taxing city staff with some challenge to give a little deeper thought into things. So great work.
This new guy over there, I think his name's Wade.
Good to meet everyone. So, Main Street Phase 2 from Pittman down to West Terra, East Terra, that'll be starting this spring. So, once again, we'll be working on Main Street. March 4th at between 4 to 7, there'll be an open house on the Highway End project at the Aquarium Center down there that the county purchased. So it's a big kind of horse facility area there on Highway End. So if you're interested in that project, that'll be again March 4th from 4 to 7. And then I too am looking forward to the single stream recycling. So they getting my garage back that piles up until I can't get to my fridge, and then I break them down and load the truck up and take everything every few months. So I'm very excited about it too. So.
All right, Steve.
So, and big news, we got the Public Works facility under contract. City Council approved a contract with the company ICS Construction at their January meeting. So we've given them notice to proceed. We should see work start in March. Foundation's starting to be dug. And then completion is about 1.5 years. So roughly July of 2026 is what we're looking at for completion on that. And then next month here, we're going to do the picture for the annual report. So we'll get an updated picture from here with you guys for the annual report. And then other news at the water treatment plant, we have the water treatment plant upgrades out for bid. So that's replacing the RO system, doing a lot of chemical replacements because the building and the plant is 22 years old now, and it's due for some major maintenance and upgrades out there. So I think the bid date is the middle of March on that.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right, so I guess anybody that's got the orange shirt, maybe wear it next month for the picture. Can you, Bryce, bring some vests or something too, so we can all look sort of alike? That'd be great. Can't looking so forward to it. I got some orange pants too. Maybe I'll go like head to toe that night. All right, with that, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion. I get a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everyone.